What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Tuesday, June 18th. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here, also a casino host and proprietor of this podcast where I bring on individuals to talk about their why into their profession and also get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's coming on with me today. Her name is Heather Case. She is a UGA alum. She's also a news producer that's based out of Washington, D.C. She has been a news producer for almost over 20 plus years. So she has a lot of experience in journalism. So we're going to talk today about her why, get to know her a little bit, and just get to know maybe some of her favorite stories and just break bread with her. So without any further ado, I introduce to you Heather Case. Good afternoon, Heather. How we doing?
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing very well, very well. Thank you for coming on my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. I really do appreciate that. And how you doing this Tuesday afternoon?
Not bad. This is, if you can see the top of her head, this is Bella, my co-host today.
I see that. All right. I like it. I like it. I love cats, love dogs, love animals, period. So that's awesome. I'm glad to have her here. I want to reiterate why I wanted to bring you on before I
I was
started.
curious about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to reiterate why I wanted to bring you on, as I always do with all my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. So you are a news producer. You've been there for quite some time, which is great. That's awesome. So you have a lot of experience in journalism. I'm a sport journalist myself. So we're both in journalism. I love learning about people's stories and their why they do what they do, and who they are as a person. Obviously, you have a plethora of experience, as I've alluded to. So you could talk about maybe some of your favorite stories. You could definitely talk about your why in journalism. You're also a UGA alum. Go Dogs, which
No
is my
dogs.
favorite. Absolutely, my favorite football team. And
Hey.
I came from Atlanta to here. So I'm now in Minnesota. And like I said, I know you're in DC now doing your thing. So I just want to kind of get to know your story, but also get to know you outside of journalism as well.
Great. Well, I'm actually in the county I'm in just outside of DC in Virginia is the county I grew up in. But
Okay.
So I ended up working at the station that I watched around the time I was, deciding I wanted to be a journalist and in TV. Which really for me was junior high, early high school. Thought about a couple other things, thought about being a lawyer, decided I couldn't prosecute the innocent or defend the guilty, that was going to be an issue for me. And
Oh,
that's
okay.
that's not a good thing. If you need to be a lawyer, you need to be able to do one or both of those things.
I feel that. Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
so, and I think had a relative, I think, talk me out of archaeology, which was probably a good thing because I don't think my knees would have lasted for a long career in archaeology, outside working around digging. Also, possibly increasing risk of some serious skin cancer. I don't know if you can, given some of the places where I would want to do archaeology, I don't know if there's enough SPF in the world to be out there all day, every day,
Oh yeah, yeah,
working like they
totally
do.
understand that.
But yeah, just got into news. Um, there were, I'm older than you are. There were big things happening in DC at the time, so I probably remember kind of parts of the Reagan administration a lot and the news in that administration on, and had the local TV stations here at the time
Mm-hmm.
functioned, I'd say, you know, closer to being network stations in that they treated DC news, national news, and a lot of world news as having impacts on the local audience. So
Okay.
I don't think that's how it is now. budgets, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, definitely at the time that I was thinking I wanted to go into TV, you know, a lot of the local stations would send people over, would send their local crews overseas and stuff like that. Not something that happens as much now.
I understand that. Totally understand. Let's talk about UGA. Why that particular school? I know they have a great journalism program, but many schools do, like Northwestern, Syracuse, Arizona State, Indiana, just to name a few. But why did UGA stick out with you? And were there any other schools that could have persuaded you from going to UGA?
Um, I applied to mostly schools with journalism programs, but not that many. I didn't apply to that many schools. James Madison, University of Richmond, University of North Carolina, Duke,
Okay,
William and Mary, and Georgia. And did not get into the Carolina schools or William and Mary. And Duke and William and Mary would have both been like going a public policy route because they didn't have J schools at the time. They
sure.
probably still don't.
Mm,
And University of Richmond may have just been a bad day, just somehow left the visit with eh. And James Madison would have been a legacy school for me. My mom went there, her mom and all of her aunts went there. And it felt a little close to home. You know, sometimes when you're 17, 18, you want to go somewhere else. And then the visit to Georgia was just, it was a good visit. I tried out for the Redcoats, and just the funny thing is, it wasn't even the tryout itself because I was sick and I didn't play as well as I could have, but just the people around it. When I walked out of the tryout, somebody my age, or you know, only a year or two older than me, was
yeah,
engaged with my parents, asking them why they were there. They're why are you here? Blah blah blah. And just you know, it really made an impression on me, and that turned out to be the right move because even though UGA is a huge school, being in band, you kind of had your input family there already.
absolutely, absolutely. I did see that you were in band.
Yeah.
How many instruments can you play?
Well, let's not talk currently. I've been cold on that for a long time. And I tried to go to homecoming in 2019 and there was a horrible rainstorm and they canceled homecoming. So I haven't even done like alumni band in close to a decade. But I played bass trombone in band. And then I had played piano growing up. So, and then at some point ditched the piano for trombone, quote unquote,
Okay,
full time. So
I
yeah,
like that.
those were kind of the two. Did a little here and there, a little choir, but not like a natural singer. Like just like with trombone, a lot of times you're in the background, you're the support staff,
Okay, okay, got you.
not the melody instrument. So, but yeah,
I, I
that's
feel
kind of
that.
it.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Heather. Okay, I'm gonna ask you some favorite questions.
Okay,
Okay, so based upon these favorite questions, you just give me the 411 off the rip and let me know what some of your favorite things are. Okay, are you with me?
got it.
All right, here we go. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Oh, that would require me to be a better cook. Um, I could do a little, you know, a little pasta here and there, but it's not anything from scratch. It's mostly a little boil something up, heat up some sauce, some pre-made sauce.
That's always a good meal. That's always good.
Yeah, or you know, the microwave special where you microwave a wrap, you microwave your frozen chicken strips, and you find some toppings for it. Nice, basic, easy, you know. But
I
yeah,
love
I'm not a big kitchen person.
it. Okay.
I make a mean batch of brownies.
Okay, that's always good. Bacon is always good. Okay, here we go. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Oh man. You know, the first major one with a major group always leaves an impression, and that was Chicago. I was a
Wow.
teenager.
Okay.
So, because you
Okay.
know, I wanted to secretly go be the female trombonist in Chicago.
Oh, okay,
You know,
okay.
they
Yeah.
use some brass. Um, yeah. So, and then obviously I've been to so many, even though I didn't major in music,
Hmm.
um, obviously a lot of my friends were majors, and I had enough credits for a minor, but I split it with poli sci. So you know, it's cool to go to a concert where you know the person. And then of course I played every home Saturday,
Right.
multiple concerts, a pregame outside the stadium, pregame in the
Okay.
stadium, after every play, just about halftime, postgame. So, you know, and then obviously then some symphonic band concerts too. So yeah, I appreciate the people who do it professionally, because I had a sprinkle of talent and a sprinkle of discipline, but not nearly enough to go pro in music.
Sure, sure. No, I understand that. Favorite restaurant you like to eat at?
I'm gonna go hyper local. There's a place I'm in Reston, Virginia. There's a place town nearby called Great Falls, little sushi place. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Izumi, Izumi. It's, you know, not a big place. It's stuck in a shopping center with a grocery store and, you know, some other chain places. And just I drive through that little area after I go on walks on my way home from work, and it's one of the things I like that's actually good for you. So sushi.
Absolutely. I've heard sushi is good for you. I've never had sushi myself personally, but I've heard that it's good. I heard you can eat it raw or cooked. I don't know which one to try first, so that's why I've shied away from sushi.
Um, you could try either. It might be you might want to go cooked first and see if you like it, or if you want to dive all the way in, you would get sashimi, where you're just having the pieces of fish,
Wow. Okay.
and then figure out what you like. And then you can get into the rolls where they combine different fish with the rice and whatever and other ingredients. But yeah, if you want a full blown, try it right off the bat, get some sashimi, and then work your way there. Or you can start with the cooked stuff, and if you like it, then proceed to the raw stuff.
Okay. I'm gonna keep that in mind.
Depending which feels safer for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Favorite sport you like to watch on TV? Favorite sport you like to attend in person? Could be the same sport.
In general, I'd say football. Um, However, there is something, the band experience means watching it on TV, it just doesn't feel the same.
Hmm?
Um, just because you felt like in college, you felt like you were part of it,
Sure.
as opposed to sitting at home watching it. But I mean, not that I'm going to give it up just because it's not exactly the same.
Right.
And
Right.
then I'm becoming more of a hockey person, and the reason is entirely personal, is that my oldest nephew is playing I don't even know what level you call it, but he is with a team in New Hampshire that he's gone from the 16-year-old team to the 18s.
Okay.
And they play, I guess, pretty much across the northern US. I'm pretty sure their league actually probably has teams in your state too. But yeah,
Oh,
so he'll be,
absolutely. Yeah.
you know, so he goes there to attend school and then plays with the hockey team.
Cool. I'm with that. Okay. Last of the favorites. Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Oh man, I watched a couple of your other podcasts to prepare for this, so I know you're getting ready to think about a Europe trip. Um, and I heard one of your guests say Italy. I was in Italy this time last year, got back right before it got into the hundreds, but it was in the 90s. Um,
Mm,
I like Rome. Uh, I like, I'm not sure I've been to anywhere in Italy that I don't like. Um,
right.
and then let's see, instead of the main, and I'm thinking about a France trip later this year, because I haven't been to Paris in since I was a teenager. But like sneaky, I'm finding more places that I like. Did a Spain trip. Spain was supposed to be March 2020. We know what happened to that.
Yeah.
That finally happened about a year and a half later, and
Okay.
really enjoyed Barcelona. Um, just it's a different vibe, but it was just fun. It might not have been the vibe I would have picked, but just eclectic and interesting and all sorts of stuff. Um, and I could really get into the tapas and sangria lifestyle.
Okay. I
Um,
love.
yeah, there's so many places. My bestie has lived in England for work 2 different times, so I had an opportunity to go there a lot. You know, as soon as I could scrounge up enough for the plane ticket, I had a place to stay. So I like London. I like the little towns. You know, find a cute town to with some scenery so you can go hike, go see old stuff, go shopping, whatever you need. So there are a lot of places like that in Europe.
I love that. I love it. This next question has to do with your day to day.
Okay.
Explain what your process is. Like I said, you're a news producer. So explain to me what shows or how many shows you produce a day. What's the process of coming up with topics? What's your time to time? Is it a business type of schedule? Is it a crazy type of hours? Have you ever wanted to go in front of the camera instead of just being producing? Let me know of those things and how your day to day is.
Okay. Well, wow. Just to be upfront with all your fans, uh, I'm not sure if the term's recovering or not. My last day was Friday,
Wow.
so I am taking a break from the TV news industry. Uh,
Okay.
some family reasons played into that, but also I just recognized a lot of burnout when I wasn't excited about or kind of dreading covering the election. I was like, that's a sign of burnout when you're a news person in Washington, DC, you
Yep.
know? So, um, yeah, so my day to day is my shifts over the last few years have varied. Earliest one would be 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And the latest one I had was 4 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
Wow.
So always some version of overnight or early morning. Every once in a while, I'd work a Saturday night, or a couple times I worked a day shift on like during a weekend. Sorry, during a holiday week or something. But things I was scheduled to do were either overnight or very early morning, because I was either doing the 4:30, the 5 a.m., or the 6 a.m. if it was the super early shift, or I was on the noon for about a year.
Okay.
Um, and so your process kind of depends on the show. With the early shifts where you come in at 11, you're in and you're working on your show the whole time. Any of the other shifts, and the last shift I ended on was actually 2:30 to 10:30 because we had started a 9 a.m. newscast earlier this year.
Okay.
So I was the first producer for that. But when you're coming in at either the 4 a.m. shift or the 2:30 shift, you're actually helping get the early shows on the air as like their writer or producing a segment for them or whatever. And then you're starting your show. So it's a little more condensed if you're starting a later show. If you're starting one of those later shows, than if you're getting in at 11 and your sole focus is on the one show you're doing.
Okay.
And so you have to change your process depending on what you're doing as a producer. If I'm coming in to do the 4:30, the 5, or the 6, I want to make sure I usually listen to the news talk station on the way in. So that I'm already getting an idea in my head about some stuff that I might need to check on.
Absolutely. No question.
And
Every day is different for sure.
yeah. And then when you get in at 11, you're checking what the 11 p.m. show is doing. And then you're looking to as soon as you check that, you're looking into the planner for the day ahead that the assignment desk has put in. And, obviously checking my Twitter account where you found me, you know, is full of the local police and fire and whatever else organizations that, you know,
I'm sure.
kind of check around there. And then you're putting the show together, obviously not entirely from scratch. You pretty much on a normal day have set times for weather and traffic and that sort of thing. And you obviously have a goal of how long news blocks are and other blocks and what you tend to put in what block, which blocks tend to be feature blocks, where you prefer to put a sports block, that sort of thing. Obviously, as we all know, sports can jump into the first block depending on what's happening. And yeah, so then you'd work on that. If I'm coming in and helping out other shows first, it's a little more of a different process because then the getting an overview is a little bit rushed because you've been writing whatever they needed you to write, and then you've got to widen your focus back out to what's going on overall that needs to be in my upcoming show. So I'd say it's pretty intensive.
Ooh,
Oh,
sorry about that.
that's
Go
fine.
ahead.
No, I mean it's pretty intensive. And then the stations I've worked at, you do most of your own writing. So I'm not you'll have a little bit of writing support, but you're doing the bulk of it. So it's find out what the news of the day is and then start putting it together.
Sure.
On the overnight shift, you're sharing your reporter with the other shows. So, you know, you don't get to unilaterally decide what the other reporter is doing. It's in, you know, you're consulting with the other producers and the overnight manager.
I love that. I do, because like I said, with journalism, every day is different. Obviously, me being a sports journalist, you know that you're walking in, you're covering a different game every game. Every week is a different feature story, and I love that the fact that you never will ever have something to do twice in a row. It's always going to be something different.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's talk about that a little bit of that burnout, because you know there's an A side to this of dealing with or not dealing with, but doing the stories that we do because we love to do the journalism. But there's also a B side. Talk about that burnout, that mental health, how you kept it stable, how did you overcome the burnout and ultimately make that decision to say it's time for me to step away? Because I know you probably wrestle with yourself with that.
Yeah. And obviously, with this being Tuesday and my last day having been Friday, I'm sure I don't know exactly how I'm going to feel yet. I think by later this year, I'll know whether I'm permanently burned out or whether I just needed a good chunk of time off.
Right.
And not to go too far into the weeds, but in addition to all of us dealing with the pandemic, both of my folks were already sick before the pandemic started and both have since passed. And so I have a lot of paperwork as the executor. And it's just to try to, and you'd think the overnight shift is, oh yeah, you'll have time to do stuff when things are open, but it
Sure.
can wear you out.
Right.
You know, we make a lot of jokes in our little camaraderie of overnight people that all the health stories we do, sometimes they tell you something's good for you or bad for you. Eggs are good for you, eggs are bad for you. Wine is good for you, wine is bad for you. They never say the overnight shift is good for you. There is no, hey, the overnight shift's a great idea.
Right.
It's just not.
Right.
And I've been doing it a long time. I
Okay.
got put on overnights in 2007.
Wow.
It's a long time. So yeah, that one, I've been doing a long time. And two, you know, I have family stuff that has come into the forefront to take priority.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
and since I was back home where my folks lived, I was able to kind of do my job, and I was not a full-time caregiver, but do what they needed care-wise to supplement their care. But now with financials, not my strong suit. in paperwork. I just, I needed the break. I needed the break. And
You get everything together, sounds like.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to become where I'm only working and only doing paperwork, because that, if you're not already burned out, that's a guaranteed way to
Get burned out.
get burned out, have a
No question.
breakdown, whatever.
No
So,
question.
I said, let's leave this TV news thing aside, probably for the rest of the year. And by then I'll know whether or not, hey, got my wind back in my sails, want to do this, or, there are other things outside TV. As one of my coworkers said, you're not, you're not defined by your job as much as we often in this business think we are.
Without question. Yep. I agree. If someone, Heather, came up to you and they said, hey, I want to do what you do. I want to be a news producer. Either it's been a graduate or an intern or somebody that's a little bit older that just wants to get into the business. What kind of advice would you give them entering the journalism field?
I think right now, one, if you're not, you got to be really solid with your passion for it.
Okay.
Because you can't work the hours we do, the shifts we work, I'll give you an example from this year. Walking in at 2:30, the Key Bridge just collapsed. What?
Wow.
When my supervisor said that there's a Key Bridge here in DC, not the same Key Bridge. But I was like, it then said a ship hit it. I was like, what? Ships don't hit it. People row crew under that. And then I realized he meant the one going into Baltimore.
All right.
Like, oh man, big port, huge channel, tens of thousands of vehicles a day. The one in DC, I mean, gets plenty of traffic in and out to the Northern Virginia suburbs, but it's not subject to being hit by a bridge coming out of a port. So once, that was an interesting scramble, but you got to be ready for that because it could happen. And stuff you've never thought of like that could happen, and it could happen on your shift. And however many people are there, and whenever it happens, and whatever resources you have to change direction and hope you've got enough to get it covered, and try to call in for reinforcements if you don't. But yeah, that was one of those send everybody their day. But yeah, for somebody who wants to get in it, make sure you're passionate about it. Right now, I might tend to tell somebody to think about what their specialty is.
Okay.
Whether it's sports or politics or something like that, I might encourage somebody to specialize. Because if you're overall producing, I think one thing that I wish I would have done or maybe been more insistent about, if you can line produce, a lot of times that's what you're going to do, because not many people can line produce. And I really wish it'd be fun to have more of a hybrid web job sometimes. So I would just, if you have a particular thing, not overall news, I might look for opportunities in that one sector as opposed to going overall. I think you'll make better use of your passion that way if you're passionate about a particular thing.
Okay. Have you ever wanted to go in front of the camera, or have you always wanted to stay behind it?
I was in front of the camera very, very early in my career. Little tiny markets. Did the reporting thing for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's not my natural thing.
Okay.
It's not. I had a boss who had to talk me into doing stand-ups because I was just turning out packages without stand-ups, because it's like, oh, I gotta get it right. I gotta do 11 takes, and I could be doing another interview instead of the 10 or 11 takes to get my stand-up right, shooting it by yourself, making sure you're in the right spot and the camera didn't move. So, yeah, I've done it, but it's not my natural, it doesn't suit my natural set of talents.
Okay. Okay. I like that. Um, this next question I got for you is this or that. So what I'm gonna do,
Okay.
I'm gonna throw two things at you, and you choose one or the other. Are you with me, Heather?
Okay, got it.
Here we go. First question is Popeyes or KFC?
KFC.
Wow. Okay. Okay. We off to a decent start. You know, I'm Popeyes, but I don't mind KFC as well. Okay. Here we go. Chicken
Okay.
wing flavors, barbecue or lemon pepper?
Since I can't answer yes, probably barbecue, but I'm not
I
gonna say
love
no
it.
I'm not gonna say no to lemon pepper.
I know it. I love both flavors too. I will go with barbecue as well. But do you like your wings wet or dry?
Again, I won't say no to either, probably wet.
Okay. Do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Generally bone in.
Okay, so you like to get a little messy with the wings.
Give me some paper towels and some moist towelettes, we'll be fine.
I feel it. I'm with it. Okay. These next four questions have to do with music concerts you rather attend. So here we go.
Am I gonna know who these people are? Go ahead.
You probably will. You probably
Okay.
will. Which concert would you rather go to? Would
Okay.
you rather go see the Eagles or Aerosmith?
Oh, you got my wheelhouse there. Okay. Probably Aerosmith.
Okay. All right, here we go. Which concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Def Leppard or Motley Crue?
Probably Def Leppard.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Motley Crue's pretty good. That must have been kind of close for you.
Yeah, no, you haven't said any bad ones yet.
Okay. Here we go. The next one here. Which concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Prince or Michael Jackson?
Oh, that's not fair. And I'm gonna give the no, I'm gonna say Prince because I admire anybody who could play 24 instruments as well as he did.
He
Like,
can
oh
play.
my gosh. Yeah. So, that feels awful. Like, how do you say no to Michael Jackson? But just for me personally, Prince.
Okay. I'm with it. I'm with it. That's a tough one. Listen, these are tough questions here. All right.
Okay.
Which concert would you rather attend? Okay. Would you rather go see George Strait or Garth Brooks?
I'm more familiar with more of Garth's music, so Garth Brooks.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Now, do you like snacks? Desserts, I should say.
Yes and yes.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna throw four desserts out at you. You got to choose one of these to never eat again. The
No.
first one is cookies. The next one is ice cream. The third one is cakes. The fourth one is candy. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Well, you're destroying part of my food pyramid. I think that is my food pyramid.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Only because of those four, it's the one I eat the least. Cake. But
Wow.
love them all. Love them all, but cake is the one I eat the least. So,
Okay, I can understand that. I'm a huge red velvet and pound cake person, so that's my thing. I would have got rid of candy for sure.
okay.
For sure. Okay. Do you eat potato chips?
Yes.
Okay, same format.
Okay.
Gonna throw four brands. You got to get rid of one. First brand is Doritos. Second brand is Lay's. Third brand is Ruffles. The last brand is Pringles. Which one you getting rid of?
Pringles, Ruffles, Lay's, Doritos.
Yep,
I know. I feel like Jeopardy music is running in my head.
it
Um,
is.
I'm going a different direction than I went on the sweets on the dessert question.
Okay.
I don't have Doritos all that often, but when you want Doritos, you want Doritos. It's a different flavor than the other ones.
It
So
is.
I gotta ditch one of the other ones.
Okay.
So I think it's gotta be Lay's. I think I gotta ditch Lay's.
I didn't think there was any other answer but that, Heather, but that's okay. That's all right. Lay's is the correct answer, no doubt.
I mean, I'm trying to think like, yeah, you're making it tough here, but yeah, I think Lay's have to go because sometimes you have to have Pringles, sometimes you have to have Ruffles, and sometimes you have to have Doritos. Whereas, hey, if the Lay's are there, cool. Yeah, so it's Lay's.
Okay. Okay. I like that. Now, which sport would you rather watch on TV? Would you rather watch baseball or basketball?
Oh, I would say because I don't watch them nearly as much as I used to, but RIP TBS showing all the Braves games, no matter where you were in the country all the time. So I think I've watched a lot more baseball. I'll say baseball.
Okay. Which UGA alumni would you rather choose on as far as, you know what I mean? Now I'm gonna give you three different names. I'm gonna give you Herschel Walker,
Okay.
I'm gonna give you Matthew Stafford,
Okay.
and I'm gonna give you AJ Green. Which
And
one are you choosing?
to interview or
Nope. Which one did you choose as far as the best player in your mind?
oh, best player of those three.
Mm-hmm.
College career wise, you'd say Herschel.
Okay.
Pro career wise, it would be one of the other two. And if you go Super Bowls, you say Stafford, but AJ's got quite the career.
Okay. So who you choosing?
Oh man. I think I'm gonna go with the least known one and go AJ.
Okay. I like that. I do.
I
Last of
give him his
this. Go
yeah,
ahead.
he's not gonna be as remembered as the other two, so I want to give him his props because he should be.
He should. He was a big time player at UGA. Loved the UGA as far as football goes. I'm a huge fan. Last of the this or that. Okay. Which and it goes back to music. Okay. Which concert would you rather attend? Okay. Would you rather attend between these two groups? Okay. Would you rather go see Poison or would you rather go see Limp Bizkit?
Probably Poison.
Wow. You said probably. Okay, so you wasn't like definitive on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll say Poison. Again, you haven't given me a choice that I wouldn't be interested in seeing, but got to pick between two.
That's right. And see, that means that's good. That's very good selections that I had. So I love that. I love the fact that I did that. Okay.
Yeah.
So if Heather wasn't doing journalism, which now technically you're not because Friday was the last day, but if you wasn't doing journalism or never pursued it, what career would Heather have pursued and why?
Oh. Well, there is always the archaeology thing, but maybe instead of being the person in the field, I really like one thing I do to not think about current events and news. I will do lectures on history. I like take an online Smithsonian lecture, something historical. Um, I read lots of historical fiction and then I tend to go back and look up so that I know one, you read the author's note carefully, but then two, do my own Googling or whatever, or read a different book about the same person and see what the different angle is and
Okay.
or same time period and then kind of look that up. So yeah, I'd probably do something with history.
Okay, I like that. I like that. I'm would be theater for myself. I love plays, musicals, different things of that nature. So definitely theater for me. But I'm also a huge history buff as well, especially Black history. But yeah, definitely love history as well. So um, I I love asking this next question, and that's advice. Now, I asked you about advice you would give, but I want to know what advice has someone gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Oh man. There's well, yeah, that's more advice. I was thinking in a newsroom setting where I feel like you can always learn from everybody and it's so easy to get locked into what you do.
Right?
Um, or locked into getting your show on the air or getting your story done. Um, that I always feel like a good idea can come from anywhere, even the places, even, maybe not the people you're working directly with that day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I've gotten a fair amount of good advice in the last month or so since people at work found out I was leaving, just about, remembering that there is more stuff than cramming your life around your work. And that you're not what your job title says you are. It's that can get hard, when you're in the thick of it and it's, you're getting through the day, that can be tough to remember. So I think, yeah, just remembering how open everything is for me right now and that I
Okay.
can, appreciating the chance to take a step back and see stuff with fresh eyes instead of having to, jump into the thick of it every day. So I think, and I can't credit that to any one person, but um, just a lot of reminders about getting, remembering that work is not your only priority by far, that it's a lot lower on the list than you think it is.
Absolutely. Mental health should be at the forefront. Boundaries should be set with this type of position and job. We love doing journalism. There's so many different type of communicative roles in journalism. But at the same time, again, there's the B side, and you really have to set boundaries for yourself in order for your brain not to be fried, burnt out, overworked, underpaid. Those are a lot of words that are used in our industry.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love the fact that you realize that, and then you need to take a step back, and you did just that. So with
Yeah.
that being said, what else would you like to say about yourself, or any kind of other tidbit you would like to give before we conclude?
I think the main thing, I just want to, whatever good vibes I can put out there for everybody else who's trying to do this job, put them out there because it's not easy. And, there's everybody, has got their own ways of dealing with it. And, it just, I appreciate so much the work of people who I've been lucky enough to call colleagues, but then people in the wider industry. This is not easy. We're not doing it in an easy time. There's so much coming down the track just really at us faster than we can kind of absorb it and learn how to do our jobs a new way. We took we've had some little like quick lessons on AI or trying to recognize AI and just the whole concept of not only do you now have to check your sources or get your stuff confirmed in the traditional way, you now have to make sure stuff that looks completely legit on its face
Right.
may or may not be legit. And that's just a whole new thing to go into. And just, I so appreciate the fact that it's added a whole new level. And I think people in journalism already step their games up more than people outside of journalism know on a daily basis. And now everybody's got to take it up one notch more to get it right. And that's something that is going to be such a challenge. And, and whether or not people realize it, I think we have to succeed at that for everyone's sake.
Without question. No
So,
question about that.
yeah, this is just my vibes and luck and whatever else I can, you know, as somebody who is most likely going to be watching for the rest of the year from the sidelines, just, I really hope that journalists get it right because we've got to.
Understood on that. Crazy type of election process that's going to be coming down the pipe. Obviously, with all the news that's been going on uh, with the politicians, with the candidates as well, and their families and themselves. It's going to be a crazy ending to that as far as the election coverage goes. I really do appreciate you having coming on here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast, kind of sharing your story. Like I said, you've been over as news producing and in this industry for over 20 plus years. So you have a lot of different experience, covering things, producing things, and working with different journalists. So it's very good to hear your perspective. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon, and we will certainly be in touch.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
No problem, Ellie. You take care.